I get it. It's you're a cute little bush man. It's okay with your
Not a
He's
bush.
Who knows
he's
what's around the
baby
corner,
Groot.
right?
Baby Groot.
baby Groot. Exactly, and he's gonna have that crown with the bird shitting in his head. It's gonna be fantastic.
It's fantastic, yeah.
Let's see. Who else wants to say hi so you can people can hear your actual voices and not just mine?
I spoke.
Hola. Oh, I spoke out of turn.
No,
Somebody else was
it's
speaking.
fine. Go ahead, Borak. I mean,
Hi, I'm Bull. We've met before. I think. Maybe. Yeah? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'm done.
okay. Hi, I'm Holbrook. This is the first time I've done any voice chat with any number of Aetolians, actually, so you wouldn't have met me. Hello.
Hello. That's fantastic and cool.
Mm.
And then
And I am Warren. I,
loud trumpet master.
widely hated trumpet master. Yes.
Okay. Well,
Until
yay.
you mentioned it, I never really thought about how phonetically similar Ririn and I'm gonna trip myself up just trying to actually say those two names now.
I know. I didn't realize it until I started to say his name. I'm like, shit. I am going to fuck this up every time. And yes, but if anyone needs to worry about that, there's probably going to be a lot of swearing. I swear a lot. It's part of my vernacular. So I apologize now. This is not going to be PG-13, or is it PG-13 if I say fuck a lot?
No,
I think you're like
I think
one
the
per
F
hour.
bomb alone,
yeah, you're allotted like one.
yeah, anything more than one, you have to get an R rating. So
Oh, well, we're R rated now, so fuck it. Let's just say fuck every fuck. It's going to be a count of how many fucks can I
you
say.
don't gotta kill the word.
We're gonna have a counter by the next stream for the amount of times
Where's
that
your
you say
clicker? See,
You
click
know
it every time it
what?
happens.
right.
You know what? I actually, when I used to stream when I did World of Warcraft streams, I actually used to have a counter on there that people would add up how many times I said fuck throughout the stream. And I feel like one time in a 4 hour stream, I was up to probably 40 or 50. I can't remember, but we were rating. So I say that to the, you know, explanation of why there were so many expletives.
The Grey Accord swear jar is going to be a thing, and I live for it. So
Uh, yeah, and it's probably going to mostly be me. I'm so terrible at not swearing.
I don't
I
know.
don't know. I behaved myself on the last stream, but if the can's open, I mean,
Yeah, the can's open. There's no boundaries there at all. I
Surrounded by
don't care.
barbarians.
You must donate 1 credit per fuck. Well, how many credits am I sit? No, I'm not going to show that on stream. I'm not going to show how many credits I'm sitting on because then people will pick on me. So I'll just
probably just ask you for
Okay,
some.
I'll
or start
accept all
asking.
donations.
who do the rest of us look like? Mazion?
I mean, no,
I can
because
only wish.
Mazian actually looks.
Exactly. I can't donate credits every time I say the F bomb.
I was gonna make a joke that Mazian is actually amazing or something, and I completely lost what I was gonna say. Never mind.
Well, everyone has nice things to say about their dad.
He's not my. He's not
He's
my
everyone's
dad.
dad.
He's everyone's dad.
Okay, there's that. There is that.
It's started off as a joke a long time ago about because all he has is your mom jokes, and then it turned into him banging your mom, and now he's
It,
banged everyone's mom,
he's begged
and
everyone's mom.
He
he is
really
everyone's
has.
dad.
He is everyone's dad. You're right. I forgot that is the running joke. See, I've not been on regularly on Shadow enough and not in the Shadow Web enough to remember these things. You have to keep me in line. Have to remind me of this.
As of right now, the bells of solidarity are ringing, and we should all go to the monastery.
I swear, I have an org rec in to remove that shit because I hate it so much. It's very much a, and this is no offense to wherever it came from originally, but it's a very Catholic thing. It just drives me batty. I'm like, I am not gonna go sit in solidarity with you, girlette. I don't want to. I I'm not gonna be silent. I am not a silent person.
Fair. I mean, I just have angry rock people that tell me I need to give more blood to the earth. So, um, more blood for the earth, blood for the blood god. Um, I mean, for some kind of semblance of subject, because I'm good at doing this, We've had a lot going on. We're excited right now for Bards and mirror classes coming up of Bards, especially. What's everybody's feelings on that?
Don't all
I'm a
go at
little bit
once.
conflicted.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
As much.
happens.
Oh, I'll go. But I don't know. Like, I really like the idea of the bard, but as far as Holbrook's character's background goes, he is not a singer. He's not a performer. So I really want to pick up the class, but it feels like such a digression from how I've been playing him. So I kind of wonder if I shouldn't. Maybe
Just be real bad at it.
I could be. I mean, that could be one of the ways that Holbrook kills people, I guess, as a bard.
Just be a terrible bard.
Yeah, I'll ruin your eardrums.
Yeah, you need like they need to make a style specifically just for that class that you're really shitty at it, and that's how your deaths happen. It's just you fail at doing this, but you manage to fail so well that you actually did it. It'd be fantastic.
You know, I'm actually just gonna go through style scrolls now and find out because that sounds
Right.
like
Isn't that basically the clumsy style scroll?
That's what I was wondering with
basically.
that.
Yeah. Well, Clumsy Archivist is great because you literally just throw the book. Like, you can't pass, so you throw the book at people. So,
I had Archivist. That's the one I had for Warren, where he just throws the book at people, and I made it into
Oh,
like
love
a.
that one.
It was like a Bamathis Bible, and I just threw it at people.
I have it for
Yeah,
multiple classes, but I'm not using it. Yeah. Sorry. He was talking.
there's a Sisson one that's great. I can't remember which one it is, but like you're really bad with your garroting, so you basically whip somebody, and then you're hanging on for dear life as they try to shake you off. And that was my Sisson one. I loved it.
Yeah, that's this one, the clumsy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess does anyone else want to go next before I comment?
Are we just talking about Bard and how excited we are for it?
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of like Holbrook there. I don't know how. Well, okay. I don't know what type of mental gymnastics I'm gonna jump through to make Bullrock a Bard, but it's gonna happen. Cause yeah.
He's just gonna moo everything. It'll be fantastic, right?
No.
Yes.
Loud
Moo.
mooing. You need a war drum, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah. Obviously, and then like a cowbell.
Dun,
Cowbell.
dun.
God damn it!
That had to come out eventually, though. That's a.
I'm gonna get on crafting this right now. Honestly, I'm inspired.
I checked in preemptively to make sure I could use my trumpet with Bard, and I can, so I'm very excited.
Oh, very good.
How'd you
Immensely
find that
excited
out
for Bard.
already?
I couldn't wait, so I did issue me. Can I use my trumpet with Bard?
Yeah, and I also inquired about stats because I wanted to know during the artifact still if I should borrow certain stats, and I was informed that all stats will have a use: Dex, intelligence, and strength. So,
That's interesting.
Good
It's
time
really-
to be a whale. Yes.
yes,
You can be a smart Bard, or just a muscular Bard. Okay.
It's like what are my stats at right now? I could use some more Dex, but
yeah. Dex is the only one I really
No
suffer with.
depends on which class I'm like got my stat pack. But if you were typical or something, or normal, it could be pretty easy to have them all pretty balanced.
I'm kind of hoping it goes kind of like Luminary, or like Oneiromancer, where you can have like a strength or an int build or something, depending on if like you're doing certain type of bashing attacks, which would be nice. You showed off your credits, by the way.
Oh shit. Oh,
Lost the whole
Oh, it's
5
not even
minutes.
that bad.
no, it's really not that bad. I try not to show it, I guess.
That's right. I don't want to show my credits 5 minutes later. What are my stats?
I wasn't even thinking about the fact that status has it on there. I'm dumb, guys, sometimes. I really am. I just admit it. So I don't think things through, and I did not think that through. I'm great. I'm so great. Well, Rurin, besides just being able to use your trumpet, are you excited?
I think so. I mean, from what I've seen so far, it looks pretty fun to like spread chaos a little bit, which I'm sure Nipsey and I will take advantage of. especially with like
Sure.
gossip and stuff like that.
Bullrock,
Yeah, I'll
did you?
be.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, I'll be messing with people with gossip. Like, I'll be sneaking into cities to mess with their gossip in their cities. So,
Definitely also going to be drawing with colors, like writing messages of people, in random places.
That's why I've always wanted that paintbrush artifact, so I just write shit randomly. I did want to ask real quick though, Bull, did you just kill yourself so you could show it on stream?
No, not since I did it for reasons, but not because they're streaming.
Okay, just wanted to make
Bull's
sure.
just doing bull things. So,
That makes sense. That makes much better sense, honestly. All right. Well, in my opinion, not gonna lie, I'm somewhat excited, but I also don't want to code for it. So I'm not. And that's just me because I am lazy and just think straight of, oh God, I gotta update that in my system every time.
That's a
yeah.
fair point. I didn't actually think about that.
It's like I love new classes. I like the mirror more because it was easy. You just copied and updated a few lines. But I'm all for new classes because it gives people more opportunities for roleplay, for changes in PK to be a little bit more, varied and not just stale. It livens it up. So it's all positive. But then I do just have that heavy sigh of, oh God, my
It was
system.
Yeah,
like
that's
when
what.
they did the Zealot revamp and we had like all the new fire afflictions and stuff for that. I remember it was kind of a night for. I don't code. And like, if you saw my code, you would be scared.
Uh,
Um, but for people who do, I know that it can be a little bit of a nightmare updating like affliction tables and reflexes for all that stuff, especially since first aid usually lags a little bit behind
yeah.
on catching up to those and getting new priorities set up, which I give credit to people who do code. I know in Shadow, different systems and different people talking about their code and stuff and web, and I always kind of feel for them, and then I'm kind of relieved that I don't, but then I'm sitting here going, well, I'm kind of useless right now until somebody releases something I can snag off them. So, I mean, I wish I could like provide um, something of value to the people because it's a job doing that work and people do it because they care and they love it, not because they like it.
Yeah, exactly. Like Maz is just a god, when it comes to Shadow Side. Just, I mean, he doesn't share it with everyone, but just the fact that he maintains that system and tries to. Oh, thanks for the random drink, whoever sent that. That's nice. But yeah, just keeps that updated. And obviously, Sid and the crew over there with Sunder keeping that maintained. They're just all saints. And that's not saying that Bull Rock isn't, but he shares rhyme also very selectively. So you guys are all just saints for helping out and giving out systems and letting us lesser people not have to deal with coding that much.
It's god tier work that deserves appreciation for
It really
sure.
does. It really does. Like, even though my system is still Sunder based, you can tell that. Obviously, it's very obvious when you look at it. It's like I've done my own adjustments, but I totally take advantage of normal Sunder and just go copy what they do. So I definitely appreciate their updates. They are very fantastic and save me so much time. So cannot say more love for everybody that codes for me and codes for everyone else, not just me. I sound very
Yeah,
selfish.
plus one to people who maintain Sunder. I mean, I definitely would not have started Aetolia again if there was no system for me to pick up, because just the thought of getting all the trigger lines again, you just given me a bit of PTSD with your mention of getting that stuff set up for Bards. But yeah, I could not go through and collect all the trigger lines again. Having
Uh,
that already in Sunder is really nice. I mean, like it's not all not all roses and whatever that phrase is. But yeah, just having that as a base to work off of and being able to improve on it. Yeah, it's really quite helpful.
Well, I know for me, being a character that gets his ass handed to him a lot. People recently, especially with a lot of the fights that I've been doing, and I know on Shadow, like I've had people just show up and watch me basically get my ass handed to me for starting whatever I start with my character. But like even then, like in the web afterwards, like, oh well, you weren't curing this. Like, what's your priority on this? Or like we've had discussions where they're like, hey, like I noticed that you weren't using this. Why weren't you doing it? Or that your balance was slow. Like the community has observations, even if they're not inherently connected to that system, where they provide feedback and information to you that is helpful, and I've appreciated that just in trying to be a better combatant. So
Yeah, no, I completely agree there. Like most people, even if they don't, necessarily do the coding for the system or anything, they are really good in the community about trying to give you that feedback and help you improve when you're really trying. It does tend to be the people that aren't trying seriously, like they're wanting things kind of handed to them that you don't get as much help. But the people that are genuinely trying and they're making the efforts, the community really seems to come together to try to help each other out. I know that. Whoa,
Sorry.
it's
I
okay.
I just my Discord crashed for a second, and while it did, all of my DMs started going straight to my phone, which was not on silent.
I was wondering if that was like a booty call, phone call coming in or something. That's yeah. Anyway, what was I saying? I was
jeez, derailed. No, I
derailed.
mean,
That's what I do.
I do want to encourage people. I think watching the stream too. If you want feedback on your combat ability or things that you've mashed together, even if you're just using base offenses in whatever system you're using, if you're out there and you're insect or you're starting fights out in the real world, like your opponents will tell you things that ways you almost got them, ways that you didn't. For the most part, people are generally decent in communicating. You just have to get out there and not give a damn about your XP for a hot minute,
Yeah.
to experience that part of things. And I think that people latch onto their XP a little too harshly sometimes. Nobody likes losing, and I get that. I definitely have my moments of salt from my losses, but yeah, yes, since work in the real world, never. um, but you just have to kind of take those experiences, and then if you show that you're putting out some modicum of effort, that people will actually work with you to become better, even if it's just providing insight. But definitely don't expect people to hold your hand through it because you're not going to get better that way. And honestly, people learn uh, at least in the combat world, I've noticed that if you have a base system that has a decent offense, people will quickly learn how to negate that offense.
Mm.
Uh, and so that's not always going to work for you. You might get a couple lucky wins out of it, but it's not going to stick.
You know what's
And yeah,
kind of? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
oh yeah, thank you. I was just gonna say like that point about just throwing yourself into sect. It's actually so invaluable, I think. I think coming back to Aetolia again, after like what almost 8 years of not playing, it's such a good resource because just having people there that will actively participate in sect is you learn so much out of every fight, right? Like even well, especially when I started again, kind of would have been December last year, which is when I started looking into combat in any real effort. I was not understanding any of my logs at all. So I would go through, look at one thing, and this is actually just echoing something that Bullrock said in Web not that long ago. Just pick one thing to fix, and then you just do that over 50 times, and then you'll have fixed 50 things with your system or your offensive. So and that's actually really good experience because when you start off with just doing something small, you understand more about your class, and then you do more with it, and you find more things to fix. So yeah, I think just throwing yourself out into sect is really good. Yeah, get into sect because I need more people to fight against.
What, you don't want to fight Kagura 14 times in a row?
Honestly, there's only so much I can do against bloody
When
revenants.
I when I started secting, well, I didn't have any system or anything until like a month and a half ago. Um, and I still don't have offenses or anything like that in the system. It's mostly an auto basher and like some convenience defense stuff. Um, So I manualed in sect and stuff. And my first sect win, I was like, oh shit, I actually won. Like, you know, because all these people are talking about their systems and stuff, and I just have a few aliases, and I'm like, oh well, listen, I'm gonna get my ass handed to me.
That's really impressive because you play with screen reader, right?
I do, yeah.
And yeah, so manualing through sect, I can't imagine doing that at all. Like, that's a solid effort.
In IKEA would do amazing things. And in IKEA, surprisingly, combat had a majority of manualing in it. You did a lot of manual combat and prompting based on that
That was one of the
interactions.
hardest things coming over here for me is that like everybody has a system and runs an AF tracker, and I've never used that playing IRE. So that was wild for me.
It's a little bit of a culture shock, for sure, coming here from. Even I was in IKEA for a year. I actually met Warren in IKEA after playing in Aetolia for years and not playing in IKEA. And learning how to like take away my automation brain from Aetolia and relearn how to do things with aliases in IKEA, and then coming back to Aetolia and having to relearn how to like integrate a system. Um, it was weird. It's like a culture shock. It's a very different PK mindset.
Okay, so this is where I can actually speak again. Let the
Sorry.
boys do the talking. No, it's fine. Actually, you guys are having a great conversation, so I don't even want to interrupt. I just want to sit here and listen and take it in. I can definitely say that, back in the day, we didn't really have all of that like ages ago. So I remember what you guys are describing with like having the aliases, and you had to be just, kind of hitting specific ones at specific timings, watching the timing, not really having a ton of affliction tracking and all of that. And I am glad that I can just work with logic now instead, because although yeah, people can kind of figure out what you're doing and how you're setting things up, you can tweak it on the fly as you need to still, or you can switch it up into different versions of like what you're working. You can have multiple versions of it and still be able to do decent, but it does continue to challenge you, in just a different way compared to having to just smash buttons constantly, which is what it felt like when I, used to be on my priest or my paladin, and just, I got this one button that for my priest that would be auto heal, that would drain practically all my mana, but would cure every single affliction. And then I had all the buttons for all the other things and tried to just judge the fuck out of people, honestly. And yes, Z-Mud was what I used back then. I did not have Mudlet. Yeah, Z-Mud, then C-Mud, and then eventually came over to Mudlet.
And
I mean,
I think
I
there's
love Shima, to be honest.
I think
I'm gonna.
there's
Good old memory.
something to be said for like it being more available for people to get into combat with systems and stuff, but it also, in some ways, I think it gives us a new problem where like it there's no if there's one team and another team and people like one of them is experienced combatants, it doesn't exactly matter as much because you can like the system is doing most of it, and I think sometimes that's a problem.
Yeah, that can be a problem. You're right.
Because in IKEA we do a lot of raiding with like smaller experienced teams, and the other team would have like it'd be like 5 against 15 or something, and there's no really like distributed system. So it'd be a lot more telling. People would get split up a lot more, and they wouldn't attack all together and stuff like that. And that's been really telling here that I've noticed in team combat since coming over.
the ability to break up groups is one of the biggest problems in Aetolia, because again, coming from being in IKEA for a little over a year, um, combat was more. Uh, there were situational things that you had to do in your process when you were facing another group, like in a raid or in a skirmish over shrines or something like that. One of the things I've brought with me, and I think that we can do. I mean, I run a lot from combat, but that's because I don't just hit my button and let it fly. is being able to stop and jump out of a room and break up groups. And it's a lot of things people aren't really comfortable with doing in Aetolia. And I think that's just part of the PK culture here is not used to uh, stopping what they're doing. They're used to just trusting in their systems. And so you do have to kind of take that part into combat, especially with groups and the amount of conflict we've had over the past few months. A lot of the struggles have been once you're in a room, you're pretty much locked in. I mean, because there's so much going on and so much stuff, and you have to use what tools you have available. Hell, I have a curse on me right now on my character. I've used my curse to escape combat because I'm not going to get pinned down in the room. So if I have 15 people hitting on me, I'll shout and have it teleport me away, which is kind of abusing a curse, but it's
God.
effective.
God damn it. One of the things that I think this is like my first day here. And I had no idea what I was doing, and we were going to a lesser or something, and they're like, "Yeah, we're just gonna prism into their group," and I was like, "Wait, what the fuck? We're going to just prism to them?" Like that happens so much where we're just like, "Okay, we're gonna charge now," and that's the extent of the combat. I feel like it's just like, "Okay, we're gonna go into their room, and they're gonna be there, and then we're all gonna mash our buttons until something happens," and I'm just boggled by this happening.
Yeah, it depends on who the leaders of the group are and how much effort people want to make. Most of the time, people don't really want to make that much effort anymore. But there have been some really substantially, like, great skirmishes where we will actually go and think, okay, we want to pull the group apart. How the fuck are we pulling them apart? And we'll just, figure out, okay, we'll try to, yoink some people if we have some monks. If we can't do that, talking Terragem or Shaman, you try to use, the, grabbing abilities, see if you can do that. Try to strip some cloaks and, take a risk and trigger that perfectly to try to be able to, what do you call it, brazier people out. There's been efforts, or even just doing some creative things where you swap room locations. I love that one. I miss doing that one. That doesn't get used nearly enough. It's so hilarious to see people very confused, like, what the fuck just happened to me? I'm in a whole other room with different people. It's fantastic. But I really...
In those moments, you should probably just use the stay command because nothing else is going to work.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, you're screwed. We're usually prepared if that happens, but...
I love the strategic stuff when that happens, because, yeah, the whole... I actually went Sciomancer for a while because I was like, if we're just gonna prism into rooms, like other people are gonna prism, I'm gonna start, using Aegis in our room.
Yeah.
If that's how we're gonna do this.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Honestly, that's like a decent strategy is go in there if you're going to, just run right in. If you have someone that's in that class, yeah, go ahead and Aegis. Go ahead and also do the Mirage shit so no one can see who is in there and screw with people's brains. Rainbow Bomb. Go and do a mirror bomb if you really want to annoy the living shit out of people. I mean, people, their strategy, it requires effort. And a lot of time lately, I feel like we just don't feel like it. It's, it requires brain power and coordination. And sometimes there's just not a lot of that wanting to happen. It's just, let's go in there and throw ourselves and get free XP. It's like an XP pinata because we don't lose any, but we gain some if we happen to kill a few people.
Combat is an XP pinata.
It is.
And I know that the team is trying to develop more creative and engaging ways to make conflict because I think a lot of us are lesser conflict and focus conflict. We've been doing it for years. It's just routine. We see pink flash up on our screen and it's time to run and see how much XP we can gather before it's over. Orrery, we just had a discussion about Orrery that was, why nobody likes it, and that was another conversation. We've had some weird lore things tested out recently. We're pushing some envelopes on different types of conflict, and I mean, I'm not a leader in conflict by any means. I have like people like Bullrock and Mule who really take the leadership stance in Bloodlock. I could aspire to do that, but I'll just have a panic attack and freak out probably if I try. But it takes a lot to also lead in conflict, especially when you have people from different ability groups and stuff. And I feel like there's struggles in coordination that they face and frustrations that they face of people not following direction. So I mean, leading in conflict is a difficult thing to do, and it's another thing that people don't get enough appreciation for because our conflict systems are they're unforgiving.
Yeah.
Firstly, I mean they're really unforgiving. You either end up on top or you don't. And there's people have certain creative ways of making it successful. You've seen it with the Templars have a very good defending um, strategy for swapping defends to people who are targeted. That's something I would love to see Revenants doing more of. We have ways to split up groups with different skills, things like disorientation, mirage, like you said. We just need to be kind of utilizing the tools in our tool belt a little bit more, um, and strategizing a little bit more. I think I do like the smaller groups, and I think that Spirit has mentioned that too. The
Yeah.
3 to 5 versus 3 to 5 is really the sweet spot. Um, but we have upwards of 8 to 14 or 8 against 14 usually, which are our groups, and things get a little hairy when you get into that grouping of people. When you have over 20 people in a fight, it gets a little messy.
A little laggy too, like really, really laggy, and that's also people's systems more than it is just the game itself. But that doesn't that doesn't help anything at all. But I know, like me personally, I guess I'm speaking as the spirit representative of a sort. Is that what I'm doing today?
Shadow takeover.
Yeah.
It really is a shadow takeover. Like I am, but I'm technically half and half. So is it really? Is
That's
it?
what I said. I said you're kind of like the unbiased factor who's played both sides and led on both sides. So you've had a very long and storied career in Aetolia with perceptions on both. Well, you can't even say both ends of the spectrum because I think that there's more than just two sides to this game.
Yeah,
But we like to pigeonhole it, Shadow and Spirit, even though it's really not.
it's really not.
Um, but I mean,
Yeah.
I think each side has their benefits, but they also have their malices. I like to, and I've said this in discussions I think with Eosid and a couple other people from Spirit too, is um, the Shadow Tether has more of a dualist mindset, where strong combatants on an individual basis is a huge focus, and I think that we have a lot of very good single duelist fighters that are very capable combatants on that side of the game, where Spirit has a more group mentality of combat. And it's not a bad thing, it's just integrating the differentiation between it. Not that both sides don't have qualities in both of those fields. I just think Shadow definitely has a more dualist perception. We promote the strength of individuals a lot on our side of the game.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. That's always been kind of the thing. And it's probably most prevalent in Bloodlock compared to like the other to like Spine's region then with our side, in Spirit right now. Actually it might be a little bit split. It's pretty even right now. It used to be that Enorian was more the PK heavy one. That had more of the people that were in that mindset, but kind of in that gray compared. I don't know. I don't know if I can kind of describe that very well. But I
It's
do.
difficult.
It is difficult. It's hard to put words into things. But I do think you're right. That is like kind of the differences. But I do think we've all been trying to improve to make the experience better for people. Has it gotten better? Here and there. Still could definitely use some work, which we all know. But there's definitely not just two sides to it. It's multi-sided. There's too much going on to just say that it's just Shadow and it's just Spirit. And people alt and have characters on both sides, so it's yeah.
Hashtag delete tethers.
Yeah. Yeah, we're
I mean, that was my post. Okay, you can't steal it. That's mine. I
I
carry that banner. God damn it, it's mine.
like I even feel, and now we're slipping into a whole other topic compared to just talking about bards and talking about combat, but talking about hashtag delete tethers. This is actually this. You know what? I'm gonna segue right into it. Like fuck it. Let's go into it. I don't think this is going to be too controversial of a topic. It shouldn't be. But I feel like even if we did delete tethers, it still won't make that much of a difference because pre-tethers, there was still technically the groupings of the good and the evil of a sense, where you still had in like Eleusis and Shalom kind of still being very close and kind of buddy-buddy, occasionally having disagreements like we do now, but still being pretty buddy-buddy. And then Bloodluck and Spine's Reach were typically still kind of grouped together just because, similar goals, and they hate the other two cities for just, being too staunch and stupid or tree-y, things like that. Occasionally Duran and or Eleusis at the time, I guess. I don't remember when it became Duran anymore. But
that was after Lace sacrificed herself and the tree houses went away. It was 2010, I think, or 2009.
Yeah, so it was Eleusis for a good while there. So anyway, but Spine's Reach and Eleusis occasionally would have like a little bit of fun times. A little bit, yeah, because, they both didn't like Bloodluck that much and didn't like Honoria that much. But it wasn't happening that often still. It was still usually pretty much those two and those two. Just like you see in Empyrean with the, like, even though they do have tethers of a sort, they have 3 different tethers. But you had the different groups who are kind of still following those tethers. And in Achaea, you still have a lot of that good versus evil. There is some neutral, there, because they have the amount of people to be able to support it. But in our game,
but there's like 7 different shades of good and evil and
true.
Yeah.
And there's only one neutral. There's just a shit ton of different good and evil.
Well, and I think that unless we branched out, which we just don't have the people for, unless we branched out and made a bunch more cities to like be able to broaden that spectrum, our 4 are still going, even if there's not tethers, they're still going to do the same thing. They're still going to be very stuck together, even loosely, just because of the natural, like, what kind of things they believe in versus what, they don't believe in. There's going to be that natural split, even if you get rid of specifically Shadow and Tether, because there's the undead and vampire, and there's the whole, who believes in slavery and who doesn't. Just a bunch of different things that are still going to keep things fairly separated unless some other things are thrown into the mix.
Something was just said in chat, and this is my standpoint on it, and it's something that I've talked with other people about, is Shadow and Spirit are they're not a mechanical thing, they are a lore thing. Those things are things that our skills and our abilities are intrinsically tied to. The mechanical tethering of the sides, involving the classes, obviously should stay.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about is the hard-lined organizational rift of tethers being released and having it being brought to a more organizational level for guilds. I think that the guild conflict is kind of more of a story-pushing mechanism where we have things like this, the struggles between undeath and the cycle, which inherently affects the shamans, the sentinels, and the Centauri in a way.
Oh yeah, it does. It does.
And so they have those conflicts, but let them be handled on an organizational level, because right now what happens with tethers as their current incarnation is that if there's a disagreement with undeath, it's basically undeath against an entire tether in Orient and Durin. Which, on the shadow side, we have Spine's Reach and we have living people, and we have people that don't necessarily want to be involved in that conflict, which we saw in the Dar and Ivol. That's not a bad thing. That's within their organizational beliefs. That's within what they want to see go on it. But we should keep it like, oh, well, the shamans have an issue. Dendara and Asvash are the issue right now. So that's going to be the conflict mechanism. I'd rather fight two organizations within a city or council than an entire tether of people. We could do that with treaties. We could do that with more political grounds. Because then you have things like the archivists, where the archivists, or let's say they're trying to collect relics from a dig site or something that was discovered, but then you have, the Templar who want to safeguard that and protect it and not have it be dug up or what have you. This is just a fictitious thing. I think if we split it more on a guild level, um, it will have a lot more meaning and a lot more story to be driven than if we just have it be, Scott Pilgrim versus the world in our current incarnation.
No,
Um,
I can actually get behind that. And that was when I was trying to work with Ikti and the team about trying to figure out like the Centauri and sorry, I'm not trying to like throw Centauri stuff all over the place, but using it just as an example here. When we were trying to figure out like how to make the guild more interesting and find it like a little niche in the game of some sort, it was thrown out that our original one was supposed to be kind of the bridge in between civilization and nature. And we were supposed to be kind of mediators. And I'm like, guys, Duran does that before we even get to do a single fucking thing. Like, it never comes to a guild. It goes to the city first. So why would that be our purpose? Why would that be our role in the game? It doesn't make any damn sense.
that's very boring.
And besides, yes, it's obviously very boring. But that's my thing. It's like we would never have an opportunity because it would always end up being taken over by the city first. So I could actually get behind this. It would give a little bit more for guilds to do rather than, and I know Aline said that guilds should be split by ideology, not classes, which I'm wholly behind.
100%.
100% behind, but it would definitely give us more meat to the guilds and put a little bit less focus on the cities, which I know that's not been the thing in the last while, but it may be healthy, especially since they are trying to evaluate how the organizations are all working and trying to fluff up guilds and make them, kind of just more important. This would be a really good way, is to say, okay, let's put more purpose and more conflict into the guilds. Like, have them actually fight each other a little bit more rather than making it just straight up the entire organization. Because when you do the entire organization, you're getting 3 orgs. And then you may even be potentially getting 6, because if it's such a big conflict, like you're using undead as an example, like Asvosh and everything, you're going to have 6 different organizations that are going to end up wanting to possibly be part of that fight. But if we can tailor it to be a little bit more narrow, it would allow them, to have a little bit more individualized and less big conflict. Because I would love to see more smaller conflicts, even if it's not combat. I mean, combat, smaller ones would be good. But even if it's just, RP, smaller conflicts, that would be a fantastic thing. That would be nice.
Well, in Bloodlock, me, Warren, Aline especially, and Maeve, since she came on, are really looking at having an encompassing idealism for the city of our strength and our ability to be powerful and represent that as a city as a whole. But we want our orgs to be individuals, and in that there needs to be some inter-org conflict. I mean, I was picking fights with the Dominion today, of all people,
Who
on my
doesn't?
character. But it's something like, you don't need to agree on everything. You don't need to be best friends. You need to be staunch in your beliefs or your stubbornness or whatever, what have you. But then come together at the end for the bigger issues.
Yeah.
But I think that there needs to be more guild identity, and a lot of that needs to be driven in shaking things up and getting outside of our comfort levels. Because right now, I think it's easy to say, oh, well, we're the defenders of this, or we're the protectors of that, or, we're the scholars of this. But at the end of the day, not every player wants to be pigeonholed in just one single representation. And so we really need to, as players, drive some of those wedges and push the envelope a little bit more, and probably do it more tactfully than I do, because I just want to stir drama because I love it. But we have some very strong players that can really push um, some more. Again, you just said it in the chat. Political intrigue between the guilds of a city would be nice, and I think having the differentiating. I know Durin does it, and now Bloodlock does it as well, where a member from each guild is a representative to lead the city. That's not a bad standpoint because it gives different perspective rather than a bunch of yes men saying, "Oh, this is fine because this is the way it's always worked."
Yeah. I actually like the way those are set up. I know it can't work for every city, but it does just help provide a variety of minds versus just what ends up happening sometimes where you get all the same people from like the same little group and they just have happy go lucky fun times, although it doesn't prevent it either. We've seen it in Bloodlock where it still happened regardless for a little while there, but it's definitely out of it now and in a decent enough spot. I will say that
Goodness.
the admin are definitely sorry, what were we saying?
Oh, I was going to interrupt, but then I chickened out halfway. I was just going to comment and say that you and Nipsey could have had the whole stream by yourselves.
Oh, sorry. Excuse me.
No,
I
just
shut up.
but we kind of like sort of tangented off on the tether things, and I just want to throw this out there real fast.
Yeah.
Regardless of what tethers are now, what they were, like the whole reason they were put in was a completely out of character reason. There was no lore there. It was just like this thing of like, oh my god, Mazion has Druid. And he was in Bloodlock, and, that doesn't fit. And they just kind of Band-Aid fixed it, and then they kind of like added more Band-Aids on top of that until we have this giant pile of Band-Aids now. And we're like, oh no, it's lore. And it's kind of not. Like, really, like, that was the reason they put it in. Like, it wasn't this grand scheme of, like, let's revolutionize Aetolian lore here. Let's Band-Aid fix this issue that we didn't have proper oversight on.
Yeah, no,
I
you're completely
remember,
right.
I remember the drama during when Atropoemo had Terradrim,
Yep.
and people freaked out. And so yeah, you're right. Bull is 100%. They just kind of said, okay, well, we don't like this, so we're just gonna make this solution, but never really reinforce it.
I just toss something.
I do not remember this at all.
Oh, Holbrook first.
What was that?
Holbrook, you can go.
Oh no, sorry. I was saying I do not remember this at all. That was really my only comment. Go ahead, Ruin. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say, the tether thing. I agree with most of what Nipsey's saying. I think one of the problems I have with the tether thing is that there are some instances where you don't really have a choice but to be a tether. Like, when we got into the war with Durin, if you start a war and the other side gets involved with both of their cities, the other city essentially has to get involved, even if they don't want to on your side. And I don't know, that felt like a really weird story aspect to me, that like, if you start a conflict, your whole side is basically obligated to, support you even if they don't really want to, because the other side has 2 cities and you need 2 cities. And that comes up again in like Twins, where you literally have to have people from the other faction in your tether support you in the twin. And it's I don't know, that's just kind of awkward to me. It's like, I don't think that removing tethers would entirely make these cities stop teaming up, but it would remove the aspect where it's like, you have to, otherwise you're outnumbered completely. Because the other side is always going to have 2 cities, and you need to have 2 cities. So it's,
It is frustrating, and a lot of times it doesn't make more sense. It's just like, we need the numbers because we don't want to lose.
Yeah, that's my whole point essentially. It's like, mechanically you have to support each other because the other side's going to support each other, and it's like this, like both sides have to do that.
Well, I will say, as far as, Spirit's side, it just has ended up doing that often. But there have definitely, especially in some of the more recent conflicts that happen, which, let me just make sure I word this kind of carefully. I'm thinking, brain is so
Go
slow
for
right
it.
now.
Just let it out.
Just
No,
let it
no, there,
out.
there are certain
rip
things
out
that I
the
promised I would not
Flame-
comment on. There's
Flame it all. Let's hear the dirt.
No, there's certain things that
Wasn't even
I was
on
told to
Spirit
not
either.
comment on very specifically, so I am respecting that
enough.
request.
No, that's fine.
But realistically, there were times in the conflict where Honorian and Duran could definitely have not have agreed and possibly could have not teamed up on a few things. It just didn't end up happening because of some of the leadership that was in place. So it can happen. It just obviously often doesn't, but it doesn't mean that, say me, for example, if I, as my character, leading, don't like what Anurian are trying to do, I may nope right out. I mean, the org, I feel like with the current leadership with like Sabati, Sid, and Jakarn, where we are right now, I feel like, yeah, if there was something that Anorian was doing that, didn't somehow benefit Dendar, we may just say fuck it. I don't know. It definitely can be a thing. It's just, it's a lot harder often with Duran and Honorian to split up just because a lot of the time the conflict ends up very, very aligned. There's not been enough where we have to look at and just say, okay, this doesn't look like it'll affect Dendar, so why should we care? And that's been
Right.
more the issue. If we could have more things that, have absolutely no effect on Dendara, then Durant can stay out of a lot more shit because that's our focus is Dendara and Duran. It's can be a very insular thing and has been in the past, as Nipsey can probably remember several things happening where we just kind of completely noped out of helping Honorian, and Honorian got really annoyed with us. I forget
I
when.
recall.
Yeah, it definitely used to happen a lot more in the past because, it was mostly just people didn't care in that sense of insular, so it was a completely different thing. But it can definitely happen. It's just we need the options and the opportunities to be able to actually have that split. I
Well, and
have voted for the person that's commenting. I have voted. It's just being annoying right now.
Right, and I
The
feel like there should be more events where there are more options for like cities to pick different things. Like, because I don't think Spine's Reach and Bloodlock should agree on things all the time either.
No, they definitely shouldn't.
Like Spine's Reach is weirdly not at all in alignment with Bloodlock, from what I can tell.
Yeah, I guess as as a standing senator in Spine's Reach, like a lot of what we've kind of been driving for politically is just that freedom of expression, I guess. Not personally what I am all after. Given that I guess I am also trying to um I, I don't know that what I'm trying to say here, but unify the Shadow Tether a little bit just to improve our show in combat recently. I mean, I'm not going to go into that topic again, but I guess from my perspective, yeah, Spine's Reach very much has been to try to be this, I guess, Switzerland of Aetolia, I suppose, in a sense. Certainly a lot of internal posts. We'll say stuff like, we're not going to say no if you want to support Bloodlock. We're not going to care if you don't either. So yeah. It's
Yeah,
been
that's
it's been an interesting play position, and I think for me, I've also tried to lean into. I definitely leaned into the whole Bamathus, however you pronounce that, thing a bit more with the conflict that happened at the end of last year, and just to get a bit more involved from Spine's Reach, but it's just something I'm pushing for. That's this that, but it's not necessarily what the city's about right now.
I mean, I like where Spines reaches personally as a Bloodlockian leader dealing with it. I didn't like one of the previous senators, which might be a subject matter we're not supposed to be discussing, so I'm not going to.
Yes.
But that specific leader wanted Bloodlock to only correspond with them during the whole Monolith War, and now I understand why. Segue to something further. I do like as a whole where Spine's Reach is, and I think Spine's Reach has a unique place in the world. I think there are combatants in Spine's Reach that want to be involved on a larger stage, and there's people that want to roleplay and fit in their specific niche, and that's fine. Nobody should ever feel strong armed um, into a position that they don't want to be in, especially if it doesn't correlate to their character's roleplay. Um, and playing an antagonist as I do, I often try to strong arm people, but people also have the role play chops to tell me hell no, and I'm fine with that. And I think that uh, that Inorian and Durian can definitely do a little bit more of that on their end as well. And I think that it will be a an interesting thing to see how it plays out because I do miss that part when I was in the council where there was a little bit more individuality that was being expressed there, and it wasn't tied so much to the light's goals and Honorian. And I know that Eosid has at times kind of been an object of detracting from that greater we must band together and going off on his roleplay tangents. And I know that Ririn has it in her to also do that in a very strong opinions and feelings. And I do like the current leadership there, and I'm excited to see what happens. I would like to see more org individuality expressed instead of this 2v2 nonsense because it sucks.
That's
I want
what
to throw out there, Esid is my spirit animal.
that's what I was gonna try to say before Bullrock interrupted me earlier, and I'm going to say it now. If you want to make your org a little bit more challenging, obviously it is up to the individual, like when we're talking about guilds, but feel free to like poke ideas at the admin. I mean, I got some really great changes in for the Centauri to make them definitely have a little bit more conflict in Duran and with other organizations and kind of give them just a little bit more meat. So if you don't have that with your org currently, or you think it needs a little bit more as far as your guild, definitely should give that a chance and take that avenue. I think it's worth rolling into. And now I'm done.
And I'm actually very pleasantly surprised at how much we can actually get away with through Orgrex. Like I'd never ever done one in my entire career playing Aetolia, except I helped with one for Spine's Reach recently. And the freedom you have within bounds, obviously, to actually suggest things for your organization, I think it's so amazing.
Definitely. I've been having a lot of fun with some of the more recent things I've been able to do. I haven't gotten to do anything with Duran, obviously, because that's a little new, but they've been a lot more open. And now we're silent. Okay.
Awkward silence.
I know,
What?
I
right?
actually
in the
just
chat,
clicked
what's
over to make sure I hadn't disconnected.
I had to do the same. I'm like, I am still online, right? My husband didn't disconnect anything, bringing my water. No, perfect. Okay.
Your Midnight Hue Hookah of Twinkling Stars has been approved, just so you know. Also, your suede low platformed ankle boots have
Very
also been
important.
approved.
Oh
Very
gosh,
important.
I really should have turned that off before. Don't matter. It's fine. It's fine. You can just see
How
the
how
weirdest
how
shit.
how big are the platforms on those boots? Just asking for a friend.
Uh, I don't know. I mean, they could be if they're low platform, they could be my height type things. They could be just a couple inches, right? That's all I
Okay,
need.
how many inches? Because we're just I'm just if somebody was
They're
short and
they're
wanted to be
not
tall.
Sabati level, so they're not those nice high heels where you could die for those shoes because they're fantastic. They're just I'm sure they're little stubby things, just a little stubby.
Just asking for a friend.
I had to log off because I almost died in Memoryscape. 200 Dream will have to wait.
Rip. Yeah, you don't want to waste your chocolates and
Yeah.
all of that. Right.
Good times.
Sharks almost got me.
Those sharks are vicious. Memoryscape is crazy.
I like
Uh,
Memoryscape.
I've never died in Memoryscape. I don't know what's so hard about it.
I don't even
You
bash.
haven't been there. That's why I'm saying it.
Exactly. You can't die to hard PvE areas if you don't bash.
Get down. Go back to boiling point where you belong.
Really, Demonicus? That's what you want? Okay, I'm going to make sure to show his message on Twitch. There you go. Your message is on Twitch now.
Lord.
Yeah, people, I swear. Anyway, so what else can we talk about? Now that I think we got through that, unless anyone has any other thoughts on the whole tether destruction. Bullrock was completely right, by the way. That it was just I hate to. That's gonna have to be a quotable thing, as me saying Bullrock was right. About
That's
why
disgusting.
they ever came to. I know it's
I
very
hate
disgusting.
this.
My skin's crawling right now. Ugh.
I hate it here.
But that's entirely why. It's not a lore thing. It never was a lore thing. It was entirely just to say, nope, you can't have Terradram and Duran. We don't want that shit because it doesn't make much sense because it's sand and that's anti-Duran and it also imbalances PvP and shit. Anyway, but are there any other
Now they're
things?
doing mirror
That's less of
classes,
an
so it
issue.
doesn't matter.
Yeah,
That's less
I
of an issue now with
know.
mirrors, but like I said, but yeah, just tethers was always a band-aid, and like I don't know. Whenever I see people like try to argue like ongoing justifications for like keeping it going on, I'm like, you guys are just like I just imagine like someone who had their arm broken and never went to a doctor saying, no, it's fine, it's fine. No, it's fine. I don't need to go.
Just walk it off.
It's
Yeah,
just
swap
it's
it
a
off.
flesh wound. That's
Gom
all.
syndrome.
Real talk. Which mirror do people want next?
Sentinel.
Sentinel.
You're wrong, but that's okay.
Archivist.
Actually, no.
Shaman.
I would actually I wouldn't mind shaman. Well, whatever it is, I hope it's an archivist. The guild.
I want shaman so bad.
I love shaman. Obviously, I kind of like it a lot. Even though I'm in the Centauri, I love that class. It's so nice.
When I started this game, that's the one class I wanted to play, and all my friends from Ikea were like, "No, we have to be evil." And then they stopped playing,
Boo.
except for Nipsey and Gribbit.
Boo to be an evil. Just complete shaman. It's like the best class ever, next to archivist. Next
I
to
was almost a
archivist.
good guy. It almost happened.
Nipsey,
Oh.
why didn't you encourage him more? I could have had him playing like a flute.
Because I've played in Spirit, I've led in Spirit, I've done it, been there, done that. I haven't played in Shadow in a very long time.
Can you imagine Issa and I teamed up on the same team?
Oh god, that'd be fantastic.
He's fun. He's very
The
fun to play
the world
with.
would end. People would hate everything.
I don't know. I would love to have you guys on the same side because the shouts and just the tension would be amazing. Because
I
you
would
guys
be
would
a-
fight. It'd be like Illy, whatever, Illidan. I'm gonna call him Illidan. I don't like saying Illical. It sounds weird coming from my mouth.
He's always a living.
He's always Illidan. He is always that guy from WoW. But like the tension that used to happen with Sid and him, for a while there, I could see that being Rurin and Sid pretty easily, very easily.
We were at some event, and there were a bunch of spirit people standing around, and then just me. And Kalina said something like, "You make it really easy for everyone to hate you." And Issa is like the one person like slowly raising his hand. He's like, "I kind of like him." And everybody's like, "You were dropped on your head when you were little. We don't know you."
I mean, to be fair.
I mean,
No.
Rurin, as far as my character, I mean, I like you. But Rurin, my character, wanted to like you for a while there. She like wanted to make that effort. It's like, hey, he's kind of loud and annoying, but he's not bad. And then all the Bamathis shit started happening, and she couldn't anymore. She's just like, that fucker.
the Bamathis stuff.
I would have to
Bam.
roleplay. I would have to roleplay a very different character on Spirit. This would not fly. And
Yeah.
I played my frog bro for a long time. He was very nice and he was a good boy. And I needed to play something unhinged.
You needed to be the Brokes again. That's what you needed.
It had been years, and honestly, I missed playing a batshit insane character because it's just.
It's you.
It can be very stressful. It can be very, very stressful. But being the nice guy is fun, but it gets old.
Yeah, I've got a nice little sweet spot right now for once. Like, I'm not too good, I'm not too bad. and I'm definitely semi batshit at times. But I could never ever play someone as batshit crazy as you do. I could not. I don't have the stamina for it. I just don't.
I'm kind of with you on that one. Like, I mean, me playing Holbrook, I'm kind of playing a character that's similar to me, right? But if I was to kind of go more batshit like Nipsey, which I've kind of thought about in the past, with all the posturing I've done as Holbrook on the public boards, I just cannot, I just cannot bring myself to do it. Like, it's almost, as you say, Nipsey, stressful, I think, to play that way and for an extended period of time. Like, yeah, I don't know how you do it, and yeah, it's kudos to you, I guess, for keeping it up and
Long
working.
periods of AFK afterwards and a cold beer. That's how you do it.
Hell yeah.
I'm about to
Is
say,
AFK one.
is
I mean,
it
if you
just
want to
beer?
radiance him or anything.
Well, I smoke a lot of weed now, so I mean, that's how we chill down. I know it's legal here.
The
It's fine.
devil's lettuce. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The devil's lettuce.
I'm not a big drinker, honestly, but I do like a cold beer from time to time. And there have been some times where I'm literally like done doing Nipsey stuff, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, I'm gonna have to deal with this later. And that's something you have to do when you play a character that's a little bit more antagonistic and just nonsensical. Is like you have to deal with that stuff and be able to deal with it at the same capacity that you initiated it. And so it's not the easiest thing to do sometimes. And sometimes I literally have to like, I'll tell Aline, like I'll message Aline and I'll be like, I am so sorry, you're gonna have to clean this up later. And she'll just be like, it's fine, whatever. Because Aline has ice water running through her veins. And I appreciate that she's a city leader in my city
Does
because
she really say it's fine? I'm struggling to imagine her just be like.
she
"It's
doesn't
fine."
say it's fine. She usually says something like, well, I guess it was dealt with. Or it's just a very passive response. Or she's just like, what did you do this time? Usually is a lot of times. And I'll tell her, she goes, that's not what I was told. I was like, well, shit. It's kind of like earlier. And I'm fortunate that I have a very tolerant city leader because being a city leader sucks. It really does. You deal with a lot of drama and nonsense. Anybody that's done it can tell you that. A lot of petty disagreements and arguments get solved. But when you play a character like me, you can just say, well, your argument's dumb and I hate it. And so it makes my job easy, but it makes other people's job more difficult.
I don't miss being a city leader with you being crazy. I don't.
No, nobody should. It's terrible.
Sounds amazing, to be
Worse-
honest.
It's worse when you're like a city leader and he's also a city leader.
Been there
Then
too.
you're like, I'm gonna kill you, and then
and
you're
then
like,
you kill
can't
him.
kill your fellow city leader.
Yeah, no, you just kill him anyway. I mean, that's how it works in Blood. Like, you just go kill fuckers. Why hold back? Just go kill him.
Thank you.
That's the rules. Just to kill the fucker. Just knock the head off. That's what you're supposed to do. Is bloodlock.
I did it when I was in the council, though. Like, I remember there was some kid, this was years ago, there was some kid that played, like, a character that was essentially like an animal. And
Some
they
greasy newbies.
peed on me. And
Did
so,
you deserve it?
No!
In Duran, I think you're saying, right?
Yeah, so I killed them, and I remember at the time Zavin was the city leader. At the time.
Yeah.
And Zavin came to kill me, and I killed Zavin. And it turned into like this big like, council.
Slain. I love it.
It turned into a big fiasco, and
Hey.
this is back on my old crazy character. It was fun though.
I want to say something about the whole peeing on something. You want to know what my first experience with role playing with Desian was? He wanted to instigate PK with me, and I wasn't a PK at the time. This is back in Solaria. He RP'd having a dog that peed on my leg. Like 2 sentences or something, and he didn't really have a dog. He just walked up, did that, and said, "Okay, what you gonna do?" And I'm like, I am not gonna do shit because that's disgusting. And I just like walked away.
I'm gonna go home and wipe pee off my leg.
Yeah, it kind of how I handled it. But that was my first interaction with that guy before he actually got into the RP game, and I will never let him live that down. I wish I still had a log of it.
My first interaction with Decian, and this is an old interaction from like 2009. I was a novice at the time. I just came to this game from IKEA after being booted from IKEA for griefing. And and I died in Tian, and Dezian revived me. And as I came back to life, Dezian told me, he goes, "Nobody will ever believe you if you tell them that I did this for you."
And he's not
And,
wrong.
then he just walked off, and I never talked to him again. I was just like,
That sums him up very, very fucking well. He was just that kind of guy. I miss him. Mostly. Sort of.
I want him to show up just to have awkwardness between Aline, Warren, and Desian, because I
Well,
think that would be wonderful.
well, he did show up briefly at one point, so
Yeah, during the
maybe,
first lockdown.
yeah,
No,
maybe
the,
he'll
the
do it
outbreak.
again. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, sorry, that's all I was gonna say.
Oh, okay. But yeah, maybe he'll show up again. Maybe. This is like, someone share this and say, "Hey, we're calling you out. Come make things awkward." Like the silence.
Um, my only real memory of Ezian back in the day, and I used to play a paladin.
Oh God.
Yeah, so all I really remember is getting pitted like every other day. Just in the group in public with more than 3 people, pit. And then in an event with Arion, pit. So I do
I
miss
just
those
say
days.
when I went into Ronnie, I saw they had Pit, and I was like, "Oh my god, they have Pit!" Because I've lived on like Achaea stories of how good Pit was, and then I looked at Pit, and it's like, "Oh, it only works if they're prone," and I'm like, "Oh, well."
Yeah, I feel like over the years, and I don't know if this is just me knowing how to react to it now, but I feel like it used to be a lot easier to get pulled into a pit. Like it would,
Oh yeah.
right? Okay, I'm
Yeah.
not crazy. Okay.
No, you're not crazy. So Pit
It
used to
didn't have
work
the
exactly like
requirement.
it does in any of the other games. We just have changed it since. So it used to be you would just drop the shit and you had like what, a couple of seconds to react, Bullrock, I think it was. And if you didn't, or was it even, did you even have seconds to react and move out of it? I can't remember.
I think it used to strip, levitate, and one tick, and then the
No,
second tick
it
you
still
just
does that.
right.
That's what it does right now.
I don't even remember it
Oh,
having
okay.
it stripping levitation. I just remember it just being there and then
Original
being in
Pit did
it.
not strip anything; it just sucked you in.
Right.
That's what I was trying to remember. Is like, was it just sucking you in, or did you have a slight delay before you sucked it? Before you sucked it.
No, I think as soon as you dropped it, it just hit like it hit a random number of people as soon as you dropped it.
Yeah,
That's right.
that
That's
sounds
right.
right. That sounds right.
Yeah,
I
which
miss it.
I was excited for, and then I was like, oh, never mind.
It's changed a lot. In fact, the same thing for when I picked up Archivist, right? Like when I came back to Aetolia again last year, I was like, "Hey, cool! I'm gonna check out Cabalist again because they'll have all the tanky stuff through Necromancy and Link and everything." But no, it's very much different, and I was quite sad.
Yeah, I kind of missed old Cabby, but then I love Archivist way too much. Although I haven't played it since the torque thing was removed, and that did make me a little sad. But
Archivist is very cool,
it is very
but
cool.
whenever I look at it, I'm like, what are these numbers and spheres and stuff? And then I just get confused and quit. That's
The
basically
good
as far as
thing
I
with
get.
Archivist is as long as you have spheres in numerology, you don't even have to think about it. So
Yeah.
that's basically it for me. But you're right. Like I feel like Archivist combat is quite tricky compared to some other classes with however many things you need to track. But at the same time, this is my first real dive into combat in over 10 years. So I'm probably speaking from a noob point of view.
But yeah, not having used an AF tracker or even have one till like a month and a half ago, I stuck to classes like Monk and like I've done a little shapeshifter.
Shapeshifter, I can't even imagine
I don't
trying to
like
do
shapeshifter.
that. I love Shapeshifter, but I have to have very accurate tracking because of the routes and everything. I can't even imagine trying to do that manual. Ugh.
Yeah, I wasn't. Well, I'd say wasn't. I'm not very good at shifter. I can do it, but I prefer Monk. I like Monk a lot, and I do Indrani now a little bit.
Let's see.
Oh, all right. And my kid's up, which means I have to go sort out his lunch now. So I will probably jump off.
Okay, well, hey, thanks for coming in and chatting with us. Good luck with the kid, and hopefully it's a tasty, tasty lunch.
Yep.
Goodbye,
Thanks.
Holbrook.
Thanks for having me around, and good chats, guys.
Yeah.
All right. Catch you guys
Take it
later.
easy,
Bye.
buddy.
Bulwark with the take it easy, buddy. Are you?
What the
I'm more
hell?
southern than you, but you sounded more southern than me.
I was about to say he just drank his country juice right there.
I did.
I'm drinking sweet tea right now, but I do have some country juice.
Isn't sweet tea country juice?
See, it sounds like country juice to me.
Or would you call
I
it
got
moonshine?
I've got some Sean
Ah,
brewed up from one of them good old boys in South Carolina.
Was it
Isn't-
brewed up in a bathtub in his barn?
It was in his garage.
Okay, that's hillbilly enough, I guess.
I don't think it's proper moonshine if it comes from South Carolina, but that's the the North Carolinian superiority in me, and I prefer North Carolinian moonshine.
I don't know. I don't
so-
feel like I'm about to die every time I'm on the roads in South Carolina.
That is, I mean, that's just a Charlotte show. I'm sorry. That's just this area. It's
That's
terrible. And for background, Bull Rock moved over to where I and Mazian live. So he now has to deal with our shitty traffic and with all the nightmares of this area. So, yeah.
Rip.
But you're coming over to share that moonshine, right?
Yeah, if you want some.
Oh, shit. I really? I might. I have to think about that.
I would not trust anything Bullrock gave me.
He's made some. We've exchanged. Have we exchanged food? No, we never. You never did exchange chili with me, did you? I gave you chili.
Wait,
but
does
you never
Bullrock
gave me-
cook?
I'm
I
supposed to
thought
bring
he just
you-
survived on beer.
He's not
What?
wrong. You survive on beer.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say, I thought
I
you just
do.
survived on beer.
I don't
even though
have
you
any
ate
today
food.
though. I decided that there's a lot of stuff going on at work, and then I got home and I was about to go buy beer, and then Warren was all like, "The stream," and I was like, "Oh yeah, can I be on that?" It's like, I'll ask, and I was like, I should probably not be drunk for it.
I don't know. I was very tempted because today work was just an absolute fucking nightmare. Like the worst day I've had in a while. So I'm very lucky there was no alcohol in this house. Actually, no, there's vodka. I forgot about the vodka. I could have been, and probably would have been, fairly tipsy for this stream if it weren't for the fact that I forgot that there is actually vodka on top of the fridge. Damn it.
I'm having the best drink in existence. A
Oh.
mint mocha.
I don't have any mint, but it would have been probably just been a screwdriver, and then my indigestion would have hated me afterwards because it doesn't work for me anymore. But I would have still drank it because that's how bad of a day it's been. I need rum. Yes, exactly. I need rum. I love rum right now.
Rum is good.
Rum is good. Rum is fantastic. And we have it in Aetolia, which is what we're here for, isn't it? Yes, yes. We should.
I'm gonna answer some questions here first. First to why I am no longer currently a Conifex, but all of them. Aline, no.
There will definitely be a drunk stream. I forget about fridge vodka because it's technically my husband's. So, and it's on top of the fridge because he's tall and he could reach it. I have to get the step ladder in order to reach it. So I never think about going to the fridge and getting it. And now I'm just waiting for the short jokes.
I would say it's like a kid breaking into their parents' alcohol stash.
It is. It really is. How short am I? Very short. I'll get that out of the way.
I actually should probably get going myself. I know I was mainly like background noise, I guess.
No, you gave some really great feedback and stuff. You've been fantastic. But hey, if you do need to go, I get it. That's fine. I will be sad.
Oh, it's all right.
It's all right.
But I do say that I'd like to come back again and perhaps be a little bit more prepared for it. Yeah. Well, me personally, like I just kind of jumped into it just because I wanted to be here.
honestly, we had a whole plan, and then it was hinged on Rasani a little bit.
Yeah,
So
Rosani failed us.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I didn't want to take away from her topic, so that we winged this, and you guys did a fantastic job, including you, Bull. So we will definitely have you back. Maybe we'll do a drunk combat stream sometime soon.
Hell yeah.
Oh god.
Just
Yes.
get tanked, start talking shit.
Exactly. Yes.
Sorry,
Yes.
I'm RPing, so I'm completely distracted.
Yeah,
so.
same.
Okay. Well, let's do this, guys. I will, since we've been at it for an hour and a half. I think that's a pretty decent time for our first venture out into things. So we'll go ahead and end it here, since two people are RPing, and yeah, it's just a
I have
good
to
point to
bash.
end. And you should go bash. You should go do that.
I
But
think
hey,
this was a good stream.
this is a really good stream. It was just awesome. I enjoyed it. Yay!
This was really chill. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was conversational. This is, I think, a good pretense to set, and I think you did a good job leading it, Reese. So good for you. Good first stream.
Yep. This was really good.
Yay, good for stream. Well, guys, come check us out on Saturday. I don't know who, or Sunday. I keep saying wrong days. I don't know who all is going to join yet, but we will have more fun times. Hopefully, Rasani. So we've got some plans to talk about some of the God stuff and other things. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for joining us, and have a good week until we see you again. Bye, everyone.
Uh,
Adios.